I'm excited for him to share. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Ben. Before I get started, I just want to real quick acknowledge Ben and Tony one more time. Can we give it up for them for doing such a... This was amazing. This was amazing. Okay, I like to have props when I explain things, so I'm going to pass this around, this little rock. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to see it. Later, I'm going to have you describe it. We're going to go around, so I'm going to start over here. Please do not lose this. It's very important. Also, I love props because it helps you understand things better, helps me understand things better. This is an AED. After I share with you guys what I'm going to share, somebody's going to have a fucking heart attack with how much money you've been losing. And so I brought this just in case somebody needs it, because there is a lot of really crazy stuff I'm going to share with you. And I hope you take away a ton of value. My goal today is that you walk away with stuff you can actually use, stuff you can go back to your business. You can take that stuff to your CFO and to your sales team, and you can make real impact. And for some of you guys, I'm going to say this is going to put an extra $1 million in your pocket this year, an extra $1 million to the bottom line. That is my commitment to you. It did it for me. Before we move into that, I want to ask who here is in B2B? B2B, okay? What about B2C? Some people aren't in business. Got it. Okay. Just real quick, a little bit about me. I just passed that rock around. I'll explain that in a minute. This is my wife, Jessica. She makes me look way better than I am. She's amazing. I love her. We've been married 16 years. We love to travel together. She's my co-pilot, even though she's not a pilot. She likes to sit in the back like a passenger princess. Sitting there listening to her audiobooks while I'm working my ass off up front, trying to get her somewhere. These are our kids, 15-year-old daughter, Evelyn, and then Ethan is 12, and then we have a 10-year-old son. He is he's a terror, man. He's a terror. You guys know the youngest can be a little bit of a something once in a while, and he has lived up to that. This is when we recently went to Disney just a couple weeks ago. We actually did the Disney VIP experience. That was the best money you could spend. Got to see every single park and every ride we wanted one day. Honestly, you want to invest in something fun for your kids and you want to never do Disney again, go do this one time and call it done. There we are in the Avatar world, super fun, it was great. A little bit about me, I'm going to bring you on a quick little journey because some of you guys don't know who I am. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I started my business in 2003, and even before that, I was out doing stuff to make money. Anybody else do stuff in the neighborhood to make money? Even if it was like cutting someone's flowers down and selling it to the mom at the house. You're like, oh, I could make money. I'll just cut her flowers off and sell them to her. Anyways. We've been featured on the Inc. list almost every year for the last, 4 or 5 years. Minnesota's Fast 50. EY has an Entrepreneur of the Year award. I was on the Entrepreneur of the Year finalists. I did not make it into the final, but it was a huge honor. They did this big thing. It was a lot of fun. Just to show you what we do, we work in corporate meetings. We produce big shows. We don't do little things, little bar mitzvahs. We don't do birthday parties. We do big shows. Thousands of people a year sit in our audience. I own all of this production equipment, LED wall. I was a little disappointed in this bullshit stage we've got today. I'm just kidding, Ben. This is a technology that we've developed using VR where we actually can build someone's event into a headset, put them in the headset. We can play their content on the screens in the headset. They can rehearse in the headset. They can watch their videos play back in the headset. And now we have the capability of actually programming the light show to go in the headset so that they can see exactly what's going to happen at what time. You could dial it down to the second for an executive to put that headset on and actually rehearse. It's amazing technology. You can see some of these things are just mind-bending visuals. We do presentation support and design. Clearly, my team did not help me with my presentation. They were too busy making money. But we will help our corporate clients develop their presentations, formatting the screen, stuff like that. We also create mood boards. You ever been to an event and it's all discombobulated and you're like, what's the theme here? This is really weird. Well, we help kind of fix that problem when it comes to making cohesive stuff. So we have an entire creative department that makes ideas. AI has been one of the greatest gifts to our team that I've ever seen in the event space. Our ability to create and ideate new things has just gone through the roof. We also do event toolkits, so it really helps them come up with deeper theming, branding ideas, color schemes, shapes, pictures, colors, stuff that makes the audience feel connected to the message. I mean, have you ever been to an event and you're like, I don't feel connected to this at all. I feel like I'm just drifting through a ballroom twice a day or whatever. It's terrible. And we all have an enemy in this world. My enemy is bad events, bad production. That is my enemy. Our competitors sell that bad product, and we try and show the world that we're better in many ways. But we also do a lot of graphic design. We have a whole team of creators and designers, and they are making beautiful artwork to be implemented in marketing campaigns leading up to it. All of the collateral materials at the event, the badges, you name it. We also do a ton of signage services, print services, stuff that we install in the venues. It really helps people see what the heck they're involved in when they arrive, right? Again, feeling welcome. We have a video production department, and they do video production only as it's associated with the event. So we're not out selling TV commercials or branding campaigns or anything like that. We only do our video production for our clients. We also have in-house trucking. We have a trucking company called Black Hawk Event Logistics, where we do event logistics, out and back service. It's kind of fun. I always thought it'd be cool to own semi-trucks, and then I started dealing with the regulations on it. I'm like, this sucks. But it makes a lot of money, and trucking is never, ever going to go away. AI or anything else, trucking is here to stay. Launched a podcast. Ben mentioned this. I thought this was really an interesting outcome. I never thought that it would lead to great recruits, but a couple weeks ago, it was about a month ago now, we had this guy come and apply, and he was the head of the Target Center's events. And he sat there, and I was like, tell me your story. And he's like, to be honest, Charles, I don't need a job. I'm not looking. But when I saw your podcast, I was like, that is a company I want to work for. And I was like, that is the weirdest outcome I could have ever thought to have from a podcast. But yet the last 8, 9 people now that we've hired have said that this is a big reason why they want to work for our company. And this talks nothing of events. It's only leadership and personal growth. By the way, if you want another great podcast to listen to, I know we all listen to podcasts. It's called Cleared for Takeoff. It is great. I've had some amazing guests on, so check it out if you want. Okay, so let's talk about where growth really comes from. Okay, who in here has ever been frustrated with a non-growth year? Okay, now, who here has been frustrated with a year where you thought your profit was going to be more than it ended up being? What does that feel like? You get to the end of the year and you're like, no, that is not what we planned. That's a frustrating feeling. That leads to people losing their jobs. That leads to a lack of impact that you have in the world. I mean, it's a bad deal. So, a while ago, I'm going to just tell you this. This is 10 years ago now. A friend, a very well-to-do entrepreneur, pulls me aside and he goes, come to my office, and I've got this guy coming in. He's going to train us on 80-20. And I'm like, I already know 80-20. I know how that works. You know, like 80% of the results come from 20% of the inputs or whatever. So I went to this thing because he's a guy I really look up to. And the first thing that this guy says, and I'm not joking you, and this has echoed in my mind every day since the moment he said it, was that most of what you and your team do daily does nothing to make profit. Now, that's a pretty hard punch in the face, isn't it? You're like, that can't be right. I mean, my business is different. We're in a different industry than whoever he's talking about, right? You ever get that little voice in your head that's like, well, my industry's different. I'm in a different business. We're different than everybody else. Let's be honest. We're all kind of chasing the same few things, are we not? If you boil it down. A lot of blank stares here. Okay. Okay, so who's got a pen and paper with them? Does everybody have a pen and paper with them? If you do, I want you to do this. We're going to do this very short exercise. It's going to be really easy. And you're going to take this back to your finance people, okay? You're going to take this back to your finance people. Here's what you're going to do. Let's say you have 100 customers. Now, some of you have thousands of customers. Some of you have dozens of customers. You're going to let's just pretend you have 100 customers. You're going to make a list, have your CFO run a report, a list of everybody who did business with you in 2025. Except you're going to have them order it in descending order of revenue, okay? The biggest customers up the top, and whoever spent the least amount of money with you is down at the bottom, okay? So you're going to say, hey, CFO, I want you to make a list in descending order. And what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, what do you want me to do with that? Well, I want you to put the dollar values to the right. Now, I want you to put 1 and 100 on your paper, and then write 50 in the middle, so like a line, 1, 50, 100. You guys got that? Now you're going to put 25 and 75 in there, so you got 4 equal quadrants. You guys got that? Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to add up, you're going to have your CFO, your finance people add up how much revenue is in each one of these, each quadrant, top down. Now here's what's going to happen. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to go, that's not true for my business. And I didn't think it was true for my business either. And then I had my CFO run the report, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy was within 2 points of what he said. On average, so again, on average, the top 25% of your clients in that top quadrant are driving on average of 89% of your revenue. Now, you're probably going, no, that's probably not true for my business. Let me tell you, when I ran it, it was 91%. So visualize your client, rank them top down, 4 equal groups. So here's where we're going to find out where the actual money comes in. Descending order, 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is going to be 89%. Now, we're going to run a simulation. Let's say everybody here has a $10 million business. Okay? Some of you guys are like, oh, I'd be poor. Some of you guys would be like, damn, that'd be nice. But that's going to be what I call a castle client. What do you do with a castle if you had a castle? You protect it. How would you protect a castle? What's the first? You'd build a moat. You would build a moat. So I want you to think about that. So next, on average, the second quadrant is going to be about 6% of revenue. And it gets worse now. The third quadrant is going to be about 4% of revenue. And the bottom quadrant is going to be $100,000 in revenue, 1%. This is on a $10 million company. Now, this is what I've literally named these. I call them castle clients, good to great, because good to great means these clients here, they probably could give you the big stuff, right? Whatever it is. They probably could, but they're like, we'll have you do that like mid stuff. And you're like, yeah, but we can really do big stuff, right? This is how I went from DJing weddings to doing some of the biggest audiences in the world. The third one is called the necessary evil. Now, actually, they're not necessary, but they're definitely evil. Because what they do is they keep you thinking that they're keeping the lights on. Oh, well, we got to do that. Our schedule's wide open, or we got product on the shelf. We got to liquidate this. So you got all these people moving all this stuff or selling all this stuff, or you got a team of people running around or you're discounting in the off season, right? And then the trash clients, that's just garbage. Now remember, this is equal volume of customers. Equal volume, meaning if you had 100 customers, 25% of them, 25 customers are making you 8.9 million, and 25 customers are making you 100K. Now make sense of that. That's pretty crazy. So now I'm going to move into, we're going to run this simulation. The overhead, would you agree with me that if you have a $10 million business, now everybody's got different margins, we'll just go with that. But everybody's got overhead. Who here has zero overhead? Yeah, exactly. We all have overhead. The overhead is split pretty much equally amongst all the work, right? I got guys doing all this stuff. True? Okay. So if that's the case, and you break it down, and let's say you got 10 million in gross revenue, and let's just assume for a rule that it's 10 million, then it breaks down at 89% here at 8.9 million, 600, 400, and 100,000. So 7 million in overhead. That's what we're just going to pretend like you got 70% of your business is overhead. And let's say, so what does that mean? If you take that 7 million and you break it out across all the overhead, all your guys, all your warehouse, all your trucks, or all your inventory, or all your whatever, all your salespeople, you got 1.75 million in overhead down here serving $100,000 in revenue. You saw this in action. You did this. So you go, well, I wouldn't spend 1.75 million to get 100,000 back. That's stupid. Who would do that? But let me tell you, we all are doing it right now. Every one of us. I don't care if you're in B2B or B2C, this is happening somewhere in your business. The same goes with here. You're spending 1.75 million on 400 grand. Bad losing deal. Up here, well, why would you put up with these people if you're losing money? You're losing $1.15 million. That's basically marketing dollars because you're trying to get them to move into here. Are you not? Okay. So let's just say that you've got profit of $3 million, right? 30%. If you look here, 89% of your revenue goes to show that 7.15 million of profit is coming out of that top line. And then you move down the list and look at this. You are losing huge money on quadrant 2, 3, and 4. Now again, I understand that you might feel skeptical about this, but go have your finance team run these numbers. Because what you will find out is that you are losing money on all this. So then you ask yourself, well, I'm just not going to do these anymore. We'll just cut these people. Take that list and cut them. Okay, that's one half of the equation. What's the other half of the equation? The overhead. And that is where we all have a problem. Because we go, oh, Tim's been here 9 years. I know that he only services this BS down here, but I can't let him go. Right? So you have to trim the associated overhead with the associated losses. Because if you think about it, you're actually probably overcharging up here to make this whole equation work every year. You are. You are overcharging here to make this thing work. Now, I'm not saying you're actually overcharging because it's probably fair market rate for what you're doing. But what I'm saying is you can't cut the revenue unless you cut the associated overhead. Great story. My friend in manufacturing buys the business from the founder of the business. They're doing $22 million a year in revenue, losing like $500K a year, something like that. They're losing money. And the guy's like, I don't know what we're doing wrong. And of course, my friend Greg goes, why don't I buy the company? So he buys it. He immediately cuts the bottom half of the revenue. He fires all these clients, all of them. And he lays off 30% of the staff. And within 4 years, he was at 60 plus million in revenue. You want to light a fire on growth? You got to stop wasting cash on work that's not paying you and not profiting you. Now, this is the hardest pill to swallow because You don't want to get rid of those people, right? So let's just talk about castle clients. Let's talk about this. Build a moat around your castle clients. That is number one. We had this one client. They were our biggest client at the time. In fact, they are still today. They're way bigger now than they were back then. That client was a huge pain for a long time. And I called Greg. I was like, you know, your 80-20 thing's great and all, Greg. But these people they're just so annoying to work with. And he's like, well, how much money, how much profit are you making off of them? Now, back then, this is like 8 years ago. I was like, well, we're making 200 grand at the end of the day in profit off of them. He's like, is it worth 200 grand for you to deal with that? Nod your head with me, please. Yes, Charles, it is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. What else can I be doing? And he was like, you got to remember, these people are all relationship clients. Who here has who has a castle client that's not a relationship? They're all relationships. Those are relationships. I mean, even in the restaurant business, you probably have tons of regulars who are huge advocates. Those are your castle clients in some respects, right? Same with e-com. You probably have a bunch of people that spend a ton of money with you over and over and over again. Right. You give them dedicated support. Okay, so here's a good example of that. How do you keep these clients? I'm telling you, if anybody in that top quadrant called me and said, Charles, I need you to dress like a clown and do balloon animals for my kid this weekend, I'd be like, freaking, I'm going to get myself a red nose. Like, I'll freaking wear the shoes. I'll put the wig on. I'll entertain your kid. You're a castle client. You call me at 3 in the morning, I'm picking up the phone. They don't call at 3 in the morning, but you see what I'm saying. These people are people that you do anything it takes. A great example, there was a company that was shipping product, like widgets, and they had this printer in the warehouse, and the printer would kick out the orders, and the warehouse staff was trained to go grab the bottom sheet, right? The whoever ordered first, grab that sheet and go fulfill it. Well, what happened was there were great customers and crappy customers and one-time customers in that pile, and they were all treated the same. And so what happened? You got great customers that are like, what in the hell's wrong with you guys? I can order a freaking dog toy on Amazon and have it here this afternoon, and you guys can't ship me my widget in 3 days. So what this company did, after figuring this out, is they created 2 printers. They had a printer for castle clients, and they had a printer for everybody else. And they went to the warehouse staff and they said, from now on, until that castle client bin is empty, you don't touch that other pile. And of course, people are like, well, that's not fair. They just ordered this afternoon. These people have been waiting for 3-4 days. And you're like, yeah, I know, but they also spend $1 million a year with us. This person may never order again. They might return their stuff tomorrow. This guy orders huge volume. So what they did is they created a system that would better serve those people. Who here flies Delta? Okay. Delta Diamond has a different phone number than every other schmuck gets to call, right? And think about this. I'm going to Denver to hang out with my guys. And I go on Priceline tonight. And I get my cheapest ticket, and there's Delta. Delta was the cheapest. Yeah, right, never going to be the cheapest. But Delta's the cheapest on Hotwire right now. And so tomorrow I'm walking to the gate, and I'm standing there, and Delta gets on the microphone, and there's Ben. I don't know Ben, but there's Ben. And they're like, ladies and gentlemen, for all of our Diamond Medallion status members, please step forward on the red carpet where we will guide you onto the plane and rub your feet. And for the rest of you peasants, we'll be with you when we're done with the customers that actually matter to us. And so I'm standing there and I'm like, this isn't fair. That's not fair. They're kissing his ass. Why are they giving that guy better treatment? I'm a human being too. Well, is it fair that they roll out the red carpet for a guy that spends $200 grand a year flying only Delta and I'm some schmuck that takes the cheapest ticket, is it fair that they treat him better? You're damn right it's fair. Is it equal? It ain't equal. And I think we get caught in business in this like mentality of like everything's got to be equal. But the truth is, we have to get used to the idea that it's fair but not equal. It's fair but it's not equal. We have to treat our Castle clients different than anybody else. We've all got customers that spend more with us than everybody else. We have greater success with these people. They spend even more money. Think about this for a second. Do you think a walleye is going to ever give birth to a whale? You ever seen that happen?
Maybe in Minneapolis.
Maybe in Minneapolis, yeah. Well, crazier stuff's happening right now than even that. No, a walleye is not going to give birth to a whale. What gives birth to whales? Whales. And when a whale has a baby, it's still a baby whale. That's the good to great quadrant. It's still a baby whale. And what does a baby whale turn into? A freaking giant cash cow whale handing you stacks for a long time. Right? That's what we do with Castle clients. And so if there's ever any confusion in your mind of if I should treat customers differently, I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you permission to be okay with treating your Castle clients better than anybody else. By far. Freaking dress like a clown if they ask you to. I made that one up myself. Good to great clients are baby whales. You know, we got duped into something one time. I'll have to bleep this out on the video, Ben. Calls. And they're like, hey, we do these huge events. We would like you to, well, would you guys make like this video for us? Because we're going to play it back at the event. And maybe if the video's really good, that maybe you'll have a shot at doing the event. And I had a new CRO at the time. He headed up the sales team, and they were like, this is our chance to get in with. And I was like, hold on, pump the brakes. They're having us do something that has nothing to do with what we do. I mean, we can do that, but just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. So we took the job for $68,000. We did some fancy, really nice video for them. It was amazing. They loved it. It went great. And I went back to the sales team and the CRO and I said, so, how about that big show? I know they're spending a couple million on it. Well, yeah, that's our hope. We're gonna talk to him about that. We're definitely gonna talk to him about that. I was like, did you talk to him about it before we accepted the little thing? And they were like, well, yeah, they know we do big shows. I mean, they've seen our website. I'm like, okay. So next year rolls around about the same time. Hey, so loved that video. They want to do it again. I was like, hold on a minute. Are we doing the show too? The couple $1 million? How many $68,000 deals you got to do $1 million? It's a lot. It's a lot. And of course they're like, well, we're still talking to them about it, and I think we're getting closer. I'm like, okay, you get one chicken leg a year if you're going to use it. So the same shit happened again. Well, now what does think of us as? They don't think of us as the big event guys that are going to come in and crush it. And so I ask yourself this question: are you doing stuff for customers that is not what you do, but you do it because you're like, well, maybe someday it'll turn into something. So that we are not confused, came to us. Said, we have this small event, and we have a bunch of them. They were like 50 grand a piece, little. But we've got this massive, massive, multi-million dollar show. Would you do these little shows for us so we can try you on for size? And I said, I've smelled this before, you guys. Even if it's production and not just video, you make it very clear to them that we will do this for them if we can get a chance at the big show. We did that, and they liked it so much that they had us do it the next year with a promise on an RFP that we ended up then winning. And now we do not only those zone meetings, but we do the big monster show. And that's the good to great. But you have to be clear. Number one, you got to be doing what's in your lane, right? But you also have to have posture, and that's the scariest part of all of it, is you have to have posture. This has to be a win-win situation. It can't be like, oh, you have money, please give us money. We can do this, I swear. Think about this. Casey Brown taught me this on my podcast. The value that you bring to the marketplace, regardless of what your business is, the value you bring is more powerful than the dollar. Who here thinks that they have a company that offers something special and unique that's worth more than just everybody else's crap? And don't you think you should be paid for that? Don't you think you should be paid for that? So you got to ask yourself, is what I'm bringing to the marketplace more valuable than the competitors, and is it more special than just money? And I think a lot of us, the answer is yeah, what you do is far more valuable than just the money they pay you. Is that not true? It's an equal exchange of goods and services, but your team is unique. There's no one like you. They can hire somebody else, but they're not getting you and your team, or you and your property, or you and your cheeseburger, which is the best damn cheeseburger on the planet, the Parlor Burger. Hey, can I get an amen? It's the best damn cheeseburger in the world. I go all over. I'm getting a cheeseburger, and I'm like, this ain't a Parlor Burger. Did you? Yeah. We made our intentions really clear. We said we will do these, but we don't do little shows. We do little stuff as it's associated with big stuff. But I can't build a company that produces multi-million-dollar, multi-day events and build a team of people that are good at that and a team of people that are going to run around doing your wedding lighting. Those are two totally different sets of equipment, sets of people, talent. The whole equation's different. So we made our intentions really clear. And Great Clips went from good to insanely good. You have to know, because this can be really deceiving. You identify the vital few, who's easy to work with, who refers others like them, aligns with your values and vision. Do more of this. Proactive check-ins, strategic conversations, prioritize your response times with these people. You almost treat them like a Castle client. You do. As long as your intentions are clear with them. And then Q3 and Q4 clients, low value, maybe good fit, upsell, upgrade to quadrant 2 if you can, but most likely you can't. And you saw the math, and you will go home to your CFOs. They will show you that you are losing money on them and there's nowhere to go. For some businesses, they can automate these things or sell a lesser version, something that takes no time, something that's easy but still has the IDECOM brand on it. We haven't been able to find a product like that, but some companies do create a lower tier that's easy, right? That's what you do with Q3. And then Q4, honestly, you reduce and you release them. You get rid of them. Not every client deserves a seat at the table. Who here has had a client for a long time and you're like, this is not going anywhere? What does that feel like? They come back year after year and you're like, here we go again. We got to keep the lights on. But think about this. We all have so much bandwidth in our lives, and every minute and dollar and hour and effort and thought that goes into quadrant 3 and 4 is power that's not going into your Castle clients. Castle clients become more Castle clients. And just think of the world. Like when they look at your business, what do they think of you as? You know, if you're confusing the marketplace because you'll take anything, what does that say about you? That you're not really good at anything. You ever met that guy that's like, I call him the AFAB guy? You ever met that guy where he's like, hey, nice to meet you. My name's Bill. Oh, Bill, what do you do? Well, I have a window cleaning business. I could clean your windows. But you know what? My wife and I have been selling vitamins out of our basement. And do you need nutrition? You're like, Bill, you don't have any teeth. I don't know if I would trust you with nutrition. But you know how people, their identities are so confusing? The same is with companies. What is your company saying? What is the image and brand saying? Are you in this lane or are you in that lane? You're in video production. This is going to hit you good, and you are going to love this, because the truth is that you've got clients, and here's what drives me nuts. I used to do this. Oh, we can do, you give us any budget, we can do it. No problem. Bull crap. You can't do any budget. Can you do any budget? No way. Because what happens? You're just doing all this rubber to the road and you're grinding your gears. And at the end of the day, you're like, we got to hire more guys. And you're like, but there's no profit. Anybody ever felt like that? Where you're like, I can't hire more guys. You guys are going to have to work longer hours. And they're like, dude, I'm going to quit. This is burning me up. You're like, yeah, the business model is burning up your people. Your business model is burning up your people. IDCOM pays top of industry. We pay more money to our internal staff on the event production industry than any other company out there for sales, for project management, for execution. We charge for project management. We stand by that. And we pay our people more. What does that let me do? It lets me hire the most badass people. I can get the most badass people on my team because of that. I already compared that to you guys. Just remember, think about Delta. Think about the difference between the way Delta treats Ben, Mr. Fancy Pants, and me trying to bring my crate of milk and my chickens on the airplane. I got my cheap ticket. So I got a funny story. Who's got my rock? You guys got my rock? Okay. Real quick, can we describe this rock? Who could describe? Give me some adjectives. Plain? No, describe the rock. Flat. Small. Hard. It was in your garden this morning. Rugged, like jagged edges.
Smooth on one side, rough on the other.
Yeah, smooth on one side. What about the color? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Looks like a chicken nugget. I know you're ready for dinner, aren't you? All right, real quick. So I'm going to tell you a story. You guys have heard of D-Day? So my grandfather was one of the guys that stormed the beach in Normandy. And he goes up there and he survives. And he gets to the top of the hill thing. You know, the Germans retreated. And he took that rock and he put it in his pocket. This rock, the rock you were just holding. Okay, now, tell me, describe this rock. Old?
America.
Well, every rock's old. America. Treasure. Hope. Historic. Heirloom. What else? Family. Savior. Life. Yeah. Okay. So we just came up with a bunch of really great human words to describe this rock. But you were wrong. You were actually right the first time. The rock is cold, it's old, it's smooth, it's jagged, it's flat, it's brown, it's whatever, it looks like a chicken nugget. I gave you a story that gave you context. And that context gave you emotion. And what did that emotion do? It changed the way you described it. Did it not? And if you think about it, it's none of what you just described. It is exactly what you said the first time. It's a rock. It's a flat, cold, jagged rock. We assigned meaning to it. And the same is in our business. We assign meaning to meaningless things. That employee that you know you should have let go 8 years ago, but shows up every day, right? That project that you do because they're such nice people. They're such nice people. We do it at a loss, clearly, but they're so nice. So we lose money. We write them checks every year. We just don't know it. We keep our human emotions connected to stuff we need to let go of. And that's okay, as long as at the end of the year, you acknowledge that you didn't cut that overhead, that you should cut, that you need to cut. You didn't look at it as a flat, cold, hard, old, brown rock. You looked at it as heroic, valor, family, legacy. You looked at it like that. We assign human emotion to things, and it's okay, but at the end of the day, at the end of the year, when you look at that loss and that lack of profit, you got to go, yeah, we should have cut that stuff we kept on board. The hardest part about all of this is it's scary to cut clients and to cut overhead. It is scary and it is hard. And by the way, my grandfather didn't do that. I got this rock out front, so thanks for the applause. That's why I got the smirk on my face. I was like, eee! I got this rock. Ben, this is from your landscaping out there.
I was going to say that first right in front of Ashley.
Yeah. But my point is, making these changes is scary and difficult. Cutting overhead associated with loser business is not easy. It's scary. Because you go, I don't know if this is actually true. Is this right? Trust me, if you follow the math doesn't lie to you. The math is fact. And so I would encourage you to go back and look at those things. Now, sometimes, like we have a couple of nonprofit galas that are totally losses for us down here in the bottom. And we do them because we like having an impact in our community. We like doing good for these particular two groups. And I call them Normandy. I'm assigning emotion to it when I know it's losing me money. And that's okay. It's okay as long as you acknowledge it for what it is. But don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself that stuff's keeping the lights on or keeping good people employed. They'll find jobs somewhere else, I promise. Or that equipment that you own that never gets used and you should get rid of, but you don't want to in case a rainy day or there's a burp in the economy. You know what help a burp in the economy is if you quit losing millions of dollars a year. That'd help. So my point is it's very hard to let go of those things, but we have to. We have to let go of the stuff that's weighing our businesses down. If you do this over and over every single year, you will have more profit every year you do it. It was not but 4 or 5 years ago. Let me think about this. It's 26. 2021, we were a $5 million company. This year, we almost hit $30 million in revenue doing that. And it's not easy to do. But at the end of the day, if you focus on the things that matter and the things that make you money, it will be huge for you. You are going to have fear. And the biggest thing, and this is why we are in this room, Ben has this way of collecting people that are really good at doing this. Acting. We can sit around and talk all day long, but you're going to go back and you're going to get that information, financial information, you're going to have a choice to make. And that choice is, do you cut the stuff that's pulling you down? Or do you make a change? Maybe it's just cut the bottom fourth quadrant. And then you'll reshuffle it next year. But whatever you do, don't feed the monster. Don't feed the bottom quadrants. So how do we do that? Number one, we set minimums. So you just draw a line there and go, anything below that dollar amount in that little list you're going to make, we don't even take work that does that because all you're doing is feeding the problem. So you say, like, for us, that line was like, I want to say that line was like 30 grand at the time. And so I said, no more gigs that are below 30 grand. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to go bankrupt. And I was like, let's just try this. And so we stopped hiring people that did little stuff, and it worked. And so we did it over and over again. The second thing is that you have to raise your prices. If you raise your prices 1%, and I'm talking 1 point, and this is to you guys that are B2C, if you raise your prices 1%, that 1% drops straight to the bottom line. And do you think your customers would really notice 1% change? That's pure profit. I would pay twice as much as I pay for that damn parlor burger. Now, you have your patrons who are like price sensitive and they're like, man, you can't raise the rates like that. But 1% is immense to the business and minuscule to the customer. So the real cost, your emotions have a dollar value, like I said with this beautiful rock. And you got to ask yourself, what did your emotions cost you last year? Questions?
So you have a system for clear bottom quartile?
Yep.
And I assume you also have a system of preventing the bottom quartile.
So prevention comes by raising minimums. So great example. You sell a widget for X. And let's just talk service for now. You sell a service for X, and now you're putting a minimum on it. It's not 30 grand, now it's 50, right? And you got a customer that's like, come on, guys. We did this last year for 30. I can get other bids. They'll do it for 30. You go, I understand. And you know what? You should go with them. If you want us to do it, we will do it. But it's 50. And they're going to be like, well, that's not market rate. You're like, I know it's not market rate, but that's what our organization needs in order to make that business work. So that's number one. Number two is systemizing, if you can, the things that take less effort, less work. Those are worth keeping, mostly quadrant 3 if you're like, but that's where no effort goes in. So you go, guys, we can't put the same amount of effort into quadrant 3 people as we do 1 and 2. Just can't do it. Either we come up with a way to do it or we don't do it. Any other questions? Yeah.
I've just made a note. And so by the way, thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, we implemented this whatever it was 8 years ago or something the first time that you did it. And so for our business, what it looked like was raising the minimums. We had all these people that were spending less than, so we did this quadrant exercise and we found this lower quadrant was people that were spending less than $500. So the fear came from because you feel as an owner, this is going to bankrupt your business or this is going to totally, we're not going to be able to make the numbers work. But when you look at the actual numbers, it was almost identical to what you wrote down. It was less than 1%. We were spending 25% of our resources on less than 1% of sales. And I think the reason why, because I felt the same thing, like, there's no fucking way that we can cut all of these people that are spending less than $500 and still be a legitimate business.
Right.
And the reason I thought that is because my world was we spend 25% of our resources, or 25% of our resources go towards this revenue. And that's why we think it's such a big deal. But when you literally look at the revenue and it's 1%, and then you ask yourself, hey, how much would it affect you if you cut 1% of your revenue next year? I really wouldn't give a shit. You know? But what if you could add back 25% of your costs? Exactly like you said. So I think the reason why as business owners we think it's a bigger deal than it actually is, because we're looking at the cost and we're looking at the amount of allocation instead of the amount of revenue that it drove us. Yep. So that was, I think, my big thing that we had to get over. And so we just actually did this. We cut an entire division this year that we're phasing out over the next quarter. And we've done it maybe every other year since this. We haven't done it every year. So we're cutting a division in a sector of the business that's just been kind of, in this bottom quadrant anyway. We haven't been able to get to cut 2 quadrants because in my organization right now, I can't cut enough overhead to get rid of this quadrant. If I could, I think that might be a thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, some of it's weaved in. Some of it you can't. Right, but you get the real goal when you do this is to see. So I put up on screen the analysis. Now we judge our business by two big numbers: revenue collected and revenue signed. Okay, so when we talk revenue collected, we ran this analysis, and you'll see here, ours is much lower now. The top quartile is 65%. So what you'll see is as you do this, those will adjust, and the goal is to keep lowering that top quartile so there's less of a dichotomy between the top and the bottom, right? It's a smoother gradient because it shows that you're kind of doing all of the same kind of work, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, think about just the valuation on your company. You guys know about valuations. If all your revenue is concentrated in 2 customers, it's not a good deal, right? So revenue concentration is a considerable factor.
This obviously works really well for B2B, and for the 80/20 rule, businesses use it. Where have you seen it work on a B2C? Like, as a restaurant company, you literally have hundreds of thousands of customers.
Yeah.
How, like, do you just break out a segment, like your events business, and now you probably do that there, but it's really tough to track the amount of people that come through our doors.
Yeah, so
Do you have any ideas?
some of that what you could do is you could have different products that serve different segments of your customer base better than others, right? So you could create a premium parlor burger that's significantly more money and is minimally more work, right? And create more profitability that way. The B2C thing is a little bit more convoluted to me because it's just not the world I've lived in. Excuse me, but there are ways to do that. It might also come down to menu offerings and menu items, right? So you could say, you know, we're not going to sell menu items that are under this dollar amount. It just doesn't make sense for us to sell things that are under $14, you know, when you got something on there that's $4.95 or whatever.
I think for Brent, though, this is what's interesting, and I'm sure he continues to have this. I have an account for Toast, and through every time I do a reservation, you have my profile, you know, they come to visit. Sometimes they put in my profile what I ordered. They know when I get there, I have popcorn waiting for me at all those restaurants. They put that in my notes, right? It goes a very long way as a customer.
Yeah.
That makes me feel special. So back to your Delta moment for Brent, using those accounts, now you can't pull up, you're not going to go through thousands and thousands, but you can look at the top 25% of your consumers and say, hey, like Brendan, I know how many times you come here, I know you'll order this, and so next time, this one we're going to bring out is us. But I mean, there's things that we know about that consumer, and we can use that.
There's definitely loyalty things. I mean, think about when you check into a hotel. Think how many customers hotels have. Yet they go, hey, Ben, thank you for your status, by the way. Do you want 1,000 points or free breakfast? Like, they know it right there. So the same could be true from a loyalty perspective. It's just creating more value for those extra sticky, high-spending customers.
Another totally wild thing I think about, what if you look at per location?
Like close down the underperforming locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Underperforming locations certainly could be a spotlight. Yeah, because if you think about it, a location is a customer of the master business, right? So there is something to be said there too.
Yeah. Or there's an analysis on why are they underperforming, maybe we need to raise them.
That's right. That's right.
I guess one thing that came to my mind that I'm curious on is, so we work with obviously schools, and all the directors talk to each other and work with each other, share what's working, what's not working, who they're using. And so as a part of this exercise, you know, it might be the old Jim Ferriss stuff, whatever, to acquire your low-end customers, et cetera, but I would be curious, like, how much of those low-end customers are marketing for me, telling bigger schools, you know, I don't know if they have the influence, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I'm wondering if I got rid of those low-end customers, am I missing out on some potential word of mouth marketing?
So then what you'd be doing is you'd be allocating that loss to a marketing cost, right? So you say, well, we serve these people because we know they talk to these people, right? So you would allocate it as a marketing expense because at the end of the day, if that's what you're expecting it to do, then that's what it is. It's a marketing cost. Is it worth spending 25% overhead on though?
Yeah, and to your point, says hiring. It sounds like the focus would be to make those customers as much as possible, without any less people.
Yep, and then lower the responsiveness, right? Like they don't need or deserve as much. You also could batch things where you say we serve these customers on Fridays. And we get through as much as we can on Fridays, and that's that. You know, like some restaurants will be like, we sell sandwiches till we're out of bread, right? Batching the customer, the low-end customers, that'll also kind of bottleneck your volume, but you'll have a limit to a limit to your outlay of cash, right?
Yeah.
When you guys did this exercise, did you look at overhead in different categories based on variable, or did you just look at it?
So in our business, we don't have a variable overhead for us unless it's associated with revenue. So for us, mostly it's fixed that we're looking at, right? Like you know, you have a project manager leave, and you're like, do we need to rehire a project manager? We just cut eight clients. Do we need one? Or are you just hiring one to fill the spot they just left, right? Taking a pause.
So when you reran the business model on that, when you cut the quadrant 3 and 4, did quadrant 1 and 2 cover your, like what you said that you did, increase 1% or whatever, you know, or gain more customers? Do the quadrant 1 and 2 cover all your fixed expenses?
Yeah, because we cut the associated overhead, so we stopped servicing that level of business, so we didn't keep on the people who were doing those little things. Yeah. And in our business, it's very specialist based, right? You're either good at big stuff or you're good at little stuff. You're not really good at both. And if you're good at big and we have you doing little, then we're stupid, right? Any other questions?
Do you run this exercise annually?
Every year. We start running it around September every year, and then we start making cutting decisions by the annual, and then by the annual, basically the dead list is complete.
So you saw the top quartile percentage go from 91% down to 60 over how many years?
65. I think it was 65. But yes, that took about 2 years. Yep. And remember, I'm telling you guys, the hardest thing you're going to be faced with is the fear of loss. The fear of lost revenue. You're going to be like, oh, I'm telling you, it's real. Just let the math lead the way. I promise it'll work.
How do you fire your customers? Are you polite? You just call them and say, hey, I'm so sorry we changed our business model? Or you say, hey, we're taking 20% price, and if they stick, you're happy, and if they don't, you're happy?
Yeah, so what you do is you figure out what your minimum is, and you bid it at that rate. Even if it blows it up and they're like, hey, what the hell? We spent 68 grand last year, and now you're asking me for 140. What? No, that doesn't work. Okay, well, that's okay. Yeah. And then the other thing is we know what our average deal price is. Right now our average deal is like 247 grand. So if a salesperson wants to be on the shit list, sell something below the average. They don't want to do that either because they get put on a list and they don't want to be on that list. How many naughty sales did we make this year? Right? You're targeting the wrong people.
How flexible are you with those that get close to the average? Like they'll negotiate it, and they're at 220.
I mean, it's still above our minimum, so we will take it. You know, so if our average is 245,000 and it's a gig that comes in at 230,000, but our minimum is 100, and we go, well, this makes sense. We'll make money. Remember, you deposit dollars in your bank account, not percentage points. So always look at your stuff and go, is the dollars, not the points, the dollars worth it? Remember, 100% of a dollar is jack shit, right? But 30% of $1 million is real money. And I'd rather get 30% of $1 million than 100% of 100 grand all day long. It's all about the dollars, not the points.
Do you raise your minimums every year?
Yes, every year. Every year. And the reason we do that is because when we run that list, we go, all right, there's the line. We're moving it up. Some years are worse than others, depending on the economy. Some years we move it a little. Other years we move it a lot.
So you don't cut the bottom Fulton projects each year?
Nope. Nope. We basically comb through them. We go, what do we get rid of? Yeah, and we usually get rid of a quarter worth. Great example of that is we used to do about 130 shows a year, doing $5-6 million a year. We're going to do way, way, way more. You know, this coming, like 2026, we should do about 31 million in revenue, and we're going to do about 64 shows. Less work, way more profit. Way more. At about a 19% EBITDA. 18, 19. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, trust me, the math will not lie to you. Follow the math, not your heart. Okay? Any other questions? We good? I want to thank you guys again for being so warm and inviting to me. Ben and Tony, you guys are incredible. I am amazed by the men that you know, and I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm honored to know all you guys. You guys can reach me on, I'm sure you'll put out the list or whatever, but please reach out. I'm all about relationships and friendships, and I'm really grateful for everybody here.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you.